Masech Avoda zara daf mem tes amar aleph. We learned yesterday in the Mishnah if the nevoyes, if the leaves of the asher tree falls onto the vegetables on the ground under the tree, the leaves turn into fertilizer and causes it to grow. So Rabbi Yossi says it's aser because it's even though the soil is permitted, the soil that's creating the growth is mixed with Isur, but since it's mixed with the vice, with the leaves of the Asherah tree, which is Isur, that's called Zevazak Goydam, and Yossi says Zevazak Goydam is Asa. So Rabbi Yossi hold when you have the permitted soil together with the Isur of Asherah, of the leaves that turn into Zabal, does he hold it's Asa? But now we learned in the Mishnah, Rabbi Yossi, one is allowed to plant the branch of an olive tree, that from it should grow a tree. But that's only the branch of the tree. But the nut of the tree you cannot plant. From it should grow a tree. Because nut is a fruit. Rabbi Yossi is in agreement. She'im nata. That if he was able and he planted a nut of an arla tree, and the tree grew out of it, and so too a hivrich, the hirkiv, if there was havracha. Havracha means that he took a branch of a tree and bent it down and into the ground, covered it with soil, and the branch was sticking out of a distance away from the tree, and it grows. Over here, he takes a branch off the olive tree, and he goes to an old tree, and he drills into one of the branches, and he sticks in the branch from the olive tree, tapes it together, and now you have fruits going off of this branch of the tree. So if he planted the egois, or he did abracha, or he did hakava, that it's mutter, that you're allowed to have anah. Tanya Nami Hachi and we also learned in the Brisa similarly. Rabbi Yossi admits she'im ava v'nata, if he was over and he planted the egois, the nut from the olive tree, or he was mavrich, or he did a hakava, mutter you're allowed to have anah, because with this natia, the pri that comes out was caused through the egois, side through the nut, which is a payday of arla, and side through the karka, which is mutter. So, and here it comes out that Rabbi Yossi holds is mutter, and so too by the avracha and the hakava, the paydays that grew from the branch of Allah, and also the branch of Allah was stuck into an old tree by the hakava. So it grew from a tree of heta, and therefore it's mutter because Rabbi Yossi holds Zevazak Goydam is mutter, which contradicts to the shita of Rabbi Yossi Val Mishnah, who says Zevazak Goydam is also. So if you want to try to answer, Chita, maybe you can answer Shan later Rabbi Yossi Shoyin Ben Shor Hasurim Le Isa that he holds that there's a major difference between other Yisurim and the Isa of Avid Zichavim. Avid Zichavim is a much harsher Isur, and that's why by Avid Zichavim he says Zevazak Goydam is Asur versus Allah, which is not as severe, while it's Mutter. Like you want to Mishanalei. Does Rabbi Yossi Rabbi Yehuda differentiate? Well, Tanya, we learned in the Brisa such Bye and Slacha. The Sada Shenu Zdabla Bezava was Sada that was fertilized with the fertilizer of Avid Zichavim of Avid Zara V'chein Para Shenispat B'Kashin Avid Zichavim so to a para, a cow that was fattened with the food of Avid Zara. It's called vetch. Tani Chana Chada. In one Brisa we learned Hasada Tiza. This Sada is still mutter. You're allowed to plant and whatever comes out of it, whatever growth comes out of it is mutter. And para tishachet, and the cow could be gishachten and it could be eaten. We don't have to be concerned for Isur that the behemoth ate food that was served for Avoda Zara. But in another brayso we learned the reverse. Sada tevair. The sada has to be left unplanted, fallow, and the potter he has to wait. He has to wait till the potter will lose all its weight. My love is the not this brayso that said that the sada should be plowed and the potter should be geschachten. That's Shitas Rabbi Yossi, who says Zevazek Goydam is mutter. The and the brayso that said that you have to leave the field fallow and the cow, in order to shacht it, you have to wait till it loses all its weight from the istika food that it had eaten. It follows the Rabbanan who hold by the case of Kalim, of which there's the tzura of Avoda Zara, and if he grinds it, he cannot throw it into the wind because the dust could be used as zevel in the fields, and it caused the growth from the fields to come from this dust from the Avoda Zara, and which is zagoyim. It's coming from from the soil that's permitted, and the dust from the Avoda Zara together, and that the Rabbanan hold it's also. That's why they said you're not allowed to be zera ruch. So here they hold the same thing. It says you want to loy. It's not the machlokes of Rabbi Yossi, Rabbi Yehuda, and the Rabbanan. So now we'll have a study on Rabbi Yossi and Rabbi Yossi. Here Rabbi Yossi says that Zevazek was mutter, and Al Mishnah says it's also loy. It's totally in the machlokes of Rabbi Lezer. One brayso is going according to Rabbi Lezer, and one brayso goes according to Rabbanan. So you wonder which machlokes. Hey, Rabbi Lezer Rabbanan, which machlokes Rabbi Lezer Rabbanan are you talking about? Eli, maybe you're going to say Rabbi Lezer Rabbanan this Rabbi Lezer Rabbanan of yeast. The nature of yeast is if you throw it into the kemach, into the flour, it rises. So what's the case by yeast? He had He had yeast of chulin, but yeast of truma, which is aser, which has fallen into the dough. But the condition over here, the case was neither of them had the shear to make the flour rise. I mean, it's starful, but they were combined when they're both there together, they have the shear. And it made the isa rise. I follow whatever was last. What if the last? So it was mutter dikisar, chulin dikisar, then the isa is mutter. And if the last that had fallen into isa is asa dikisar, then the kemach is asa. Chacham say ben shenafal yisel lechatchila, ben shenafal yisel levaseif. Well, it makes no difference which one fell in first. It's not going to be yasa. The dough will not be yasa. Till each one has on its own the right share to make it chametzik. Abaya said, "Lo shano." Rabbi Lezer didn't say his din that if the ser is muta, that the achrin, the last one that had fallen in, is going to make these. If the last one that fell in was muta, then the isa will be muta. Is only only before the ser, which is muta, before it fell in last. They removed first the ser of truma. And then we say that the side of chulin, since it's the last one, it's going to become mutter. But if he didn't remove first the iser, and together it made the iser rise, the dough rise, aser, then it's aser for the zarim to eat it. So it comes out, according to Rabbi Lezer, Zevazek is aser. So according to the Bia of Abaye, Rabbi Lezer holds Zevazek Geidim is also. So that's who our Mishnah follows. And the Chacham say Zevazek Geidim is muta. So the stira of the two braysos that we brought before, you can answer it just telling the Machlokes of Rabbi Lezer Chachamim. What makes you say that the reason Rabbi Lezer is like Abaye, that it's talking about only if you removed the heter dilma time the Rabbi Lezer Mishmach. Perhaps the reason why Rabbi Lezer says that it's also because we go after the last seir because the last oil that had fallen, because that's what completes the malacha, that's what makes the flour rise. So it can be surah surah. If the last one and the completion of the Isra was finished with the Asr, then it's Asr Nasar. And if it was completed with the Chulin, meaning if the Sa'ir of Chulin fell in, then Mutarim, then the flour will be Mutalizarim. Bein Salki, Bein Lei Salki, whether he removed the Sa'ir or not. And so too, if they both had fallen b'vasachas, the Isra is Muta, even according to Abelazar, because Zevazar Greidim is Muta. So you can't say that was the Rabbi Lazar who says that it's usher. Because Rabbi Lazar will hold Zevazar Greidim as mutter. So which Rabbi Lazar are we referring to? The case of Eitzim, when somebody heated up a tanur with the wood of the Asherah tree. The Tanan that we learned in the Mishnah, not all, Hayimano, the Yid took from the Asherah Eitzim, Asur Ba'no. It's Asur Ba'no. If he heated up the Tana with that Isadika eights, which made the earthenware. So if it's Chadash, if it's a new pot, Yutats, he has to break it because the strengthening of the pot, the whole oven was built through Isa, through the Asherah wood. Yasham, but what if it was already heated up with Mutadika wood and it became a strong oven? And now he heated up with Asherah. All he has to do is Yitzam, wait till it cools off. Of Beisapas, if he baked bread in one of these ovens, whether it's a new or old oven, but it was heated up with the Asherah branches, Asudabano. You're not allowed to have enough in the pas. And if the pas got mixed up with other loaves of bread, all the loaves of bread are also. Abelazar says he could just evaluate the hana that he got out of the Asherah branches and convert it into money. He takes the worth of the hana and he throws it into the Yam HaMelech. It's impossible to redeem something that became asur because of Avoda zara. Just by redeeming it, you can't redeem some of the Isa of Avoda zara into heta. So, but we find that the previous price that says Zevazar Greidim is asur was learned like his shita, like Rabbi Lezer's shita. In fact, the Gemara, where that says it's going to be asur. In fact, the Gemara, Rabbanon the Pliyale, the Rabbi Lezer, Maninu, who's the Rabbanon that arguing Rabbi Lezer? He lay Rabbanon the Eitzim. If you can say it's the Chacham who arguing Rabbi Lezer by the Atzeh Asherah that was heated up with the Atzeh Asherah Fakert, Achmuri Machmuri, the Chacham were even more Machmur than Rabbi Lezer. They asked the Pasma, no, even if he exchanged it for money, the worth of the Hana, of the Asherah, he had thrown it to the Yam HaMelech, it makes no difference. And for the Gemara Avoda, Kabbalah to say, only surely the Rabbanan are talking about the Machlekes by the gate to the Seir, that the Rabbanan know Agyan Rabbi Lezer by Seir Shotim Rishon Chulin, that were mixed together and made the Isa rise. They say the Isa is Mutares because they say Shazam. Let me just give me a second. Shazam. That they say both of them is by a case of Zevazar Greidim is muta. So now you can answer the studio. Both prices follow the machlekes of Rabbi Lezer Chachamim that the Rabbi Lezer says it's aser and the Chacham says Zevazar Greidim is muta. In fact, the Gemara Eimen Shmat Rabbanan the Mekili when the Chachamim. When did you hear that Chachamim are mekel v'seivim and they say Zevazar Greidim is muta? Only by the Seir of Truma that got mixed up with the Seir of Chulin. But when it comes to Isa of Avoda Zara, which is very severe, the Isa, like the case of the Sada that was fertilized with the Zebel of Avoda Zara, how do you know the Chacham will be lenient there? Allah says only we can answer the students, the Braisa that's matter, to have know from the fertilizer of the field, of the fertilizer of Avoda Zara, that that it's mutter to have enough from it. Rabbi Yosi, he follows Rabbi Yosi, who says Zeva Zergaina mutter. Zeva Zergaina is mutter. I didn't say. Sharei hit. He was matter whatever comes out of the nut of Allah, and he was also matter by a cleave which has the tzur of Avoda zara. If it was grinded, he allowed it to throw the dust into the air, and he wasn't concerned that it turns into fertilizer into the fields, that it will make the crop grow in the fields. So that will follow Rabbi Yisrael, Rabbi Yehuda, who says Zeva Zergaina is mutter. The ha and the Bryce that asks is kishit sabanan. So that Zeva Zergaina is also. Rabbi Yosi asked now Mishnah to plant yudakis of the Asherah tree under the Asherah tree even in the winter months. That's not going to according to Rabbi Yosi. Rabbi Yosi does allow it. That the Mishnah says you're not allowed is going according to Rabbi Yosi. The Rabbi Yosi was saying according to Rabbanan. So according to my shita, Zeva Zergaina mutter. I hold that for sure you're allowed to plant the Yerakis under the Asherah tree in the winter and summertime. But according to you, Rabbanan, that says Zeva, and that's why you asked it to plant in the Yemais you're going to be made to me that you should ask the Zayah after Yerakis Meisak Shamim, because the zevel of the leaves cause Isur. Rabbanan answered, no, it's mutter, because this, that the zevel from the leaves help it grow, it gets counteracted by the shade which blocks it from growing. So they cancel each other out, and therefore it's not considered that he's having enough from that shade tree. Rabbi Yehuda son name Mashmul halach Rabbi Yosi. The halacha is like Rabbi Yosi, Zeva Zergaina is mutter. And so there was a story, there was this garden, that was fertilized by the fertilizer of Avitzcham, Shalach Rav Amram, Kamei, the Rabbi Yisrael Rav Amram sent a shayla before Rabbi Yisrael Amalei. Rabbi Yisrael said, Hachi Amar Rabbi Yehuda Amashmol. So said Rabbi Yehuda and Mashmol. Allah, Rabbi Yisrael, the Allah is like Rabbi Yisrael. That Zeva Zergaina is mutter, and therefore it is mutter. Sagt die Gemara, the Mishnah, not from him, if he had taken from the Asherah wood, Asur B'Hana, these eitzim are forbidden to have Hana. His Bahem as Satanar, if he heated up the oven from this Asherah wood, so Im Chadash, if it was a new oven, Yutatz, he has to break it because the whole oven became oven with the wood of the Asherah, which is also the Im Yashan, if it was already oven because it was made into oven with the mutadika wood, and now he heated it up again with the branches of a Asherah tree, then Yutzan, all he has to do is cool off the oven. If he used the Asherah branches under the oven to bake bread, he cannot have Ana. Nisava, if the loaf of bread got mixed up with other loaves of bread, they're all asbana. Ablaza says that all you have to do is take the Dmei Hana, Yoilich, he takes Hana, the worth of the Hana from the Atzei Isa, the Yam HaMelech into the Yam HaMelech, and that's it. And then it's all mutter, all the loaves are mutter. There's no way of redeeming something that has Isavi Zara in it. Not be careful if he took off the tree a pig which you could braid or a baguette, or so a baguette, usher, that spindle is also bana. If he wove a baguette with it, also a baguette is also bana. If that baguette that he had woven with the spindle of a shaded tree, and those got mixed up with others. They're all asbana. Elazar says, Yoilech, he takes the worth of the Hana, the Yamamelch to the Yamamelch. There's no way of redeeming Isa Avoda Zara. Says Gemara, Utzicha, I need both cases, cite a case of the oven or bread inside the case of the spindle. If you only would have spoken about the case of breaking the bread. Well, how come Rabbi Lazar? There, Rabbi Lazar says you can redeem it and throw the worth in money into the Yamamelech for the bread. Mishum to be eaten like a gomer pas because at the time when the bread is fully baked, there's no more wood of the Asherah because it's all burnt up. But by the spindle, after weaving the baguette, the spindle, the yeast is still there. Well, I'll say Rabbi Lezer is made with the Rabbanan that you cannot redeem it. He Ashmin and Kirkur. And if you can only talk about the spindle from the Asherah tree, I'll say, how come the Rabbanan? There, Rabbanan say that you cannot redeem it because the spindle is left after the baguette is done. But by the baking of the bread, ain't nobody let Rabbi Lezer to say that the Rabbanan will be made to Rabbi Lezer that you can redeem it in money for the worth of the hana and throw it into the Yam HaMelech. That's why tzricha. That's why I need both cases. That you can redeem the hana worth of money and throw it into the Yam HaMelech, and it becomes mutter. That the halacha is like Rabbi Lezer. Rabbi Lezer wasn't matter by bringing the worth of an Yamamelech ela pas, only bread al chavis, but a wine barrel of yayin nesach that got mixed up with regular wine. Rabbi Lezer wasn't matter to take the worth of the isa of Avoda zara and be matter the yayin. Chizla says, "Afilu chavis yayin muteres." Even the barrel of yayin nesach, if you redeem it for money and you throw it into the Yam HaMelech, the wine becomes mutter for the guy to drink or to sell it to a guy. There was this person that the wine barrel of yayin nesach got mixed with his wine. He came before Rav Chisda. Yes, the shayla. So Rav Chisda told him, take 4 zuzim, the worth of the barrel of the yayin nesach, and throw it into the river, and it should become mutter to you. Zag the Mishnah, Keitzad mevatles Asherah. How are you mevatel the Asherah? Kisei that the guy prunes the tree. V'zeda, he gets rid of all those unwanted twigs. Unwanted thistles. Not he took away the sticks, so Shabbat or the twigs. The makel is really the branches, and Shabbat the twigs. And even the leaves. The Asherah tree is bottle. Shipa, if he chiseled out and he shaved it, for the Avodah Zarah itself to make it more beautiful, then it's not bottle. Asura, and the branches are also in pisel. But what's if he chiseled and shaved it not for the beauty of the Avodah Zarah? Then it's taka bottle. The himotaris and the branches and the twigs of whatever he shaved down is going to be mutter. We learned in the Mishnah that a guy that he prunes or breaks pieces of the Asherah for the need of the Asherah, it doesn't become bottle. And it's asur b'hana. Eisen shvayin. Zogti, you want eisen shvayin? Those pieces that come out from the chiseling of the Asherah tree. Zogti, Gemara, this pruning that comes out of the Asherah tree. Matei alein. What do we do with those branches? Pligi ba, and this is machlekes between Rav Huna v'Chi v'Rav. Chada ma'asurim. One says it's also it wasn't his battle because of the chiseling. One says that it's battle because of the pruning and the. Even though the Asherah tree itself wasn't his battle, so the Gemara brings a brayso that will be approved to one of the shitas. We learned the brayso command the Amma mutarin. It's like the one who says Nesarim the pieces will be mutter. It's just a share tree will remain also. The Tanya, a guy that shaves the tree, if he did it for, he wanted the pieces of wood, he his battle umatar, meaning he the zara and the pieces are going to be mutter. But in pisa we tzaka. What if he pruned it for the need to beautify the tree? So the tree is not battle, but he has and those pieces are also ushva'el. Only, I'm sorry, if he did a little piesa, so the Asherah wasn't butler, so the Asherah tree is also ushva'el. But the piece of wood that he fell off, that he shaved off, mutarim is mutar, no, because they were nizbatel. Yisrael sheshipavit zichavim. Yisrael that beautified David zichavim bein litzarka, whether he did it to beautify the idol or whether he did it for himself, he ushva'el asur both. Also because a yid cannot be mevatel any part of the Avoda zara of a guy. We had learned David zicham shenishtabra, David zicham that had broken on its own. Rabbi Amar tzarich levatel kol kesim v'kesim. He must be mevatel every piece of wood. Ushmul Amar David zicham shenishtabra. Ein of a tailor is not batel. Ela im hashvira nasa v'derech gidulasa. Only if the shvira happened in its normal, natural way. If it broke in its natural way, does the tree become batel? Says this is what Shmuel said. That broke on its own, you don't verbally have to be mevatel it, because the guy makes it's batel on its own, because the guy makes a cheshbon. If it couldn't save itself from breaking, for sure, how is it going to save me? So that's why it's batel. Only if it broke the derech gidulasa, which is the normal way of breaking the mushal that leaves fall off the tree, in that case he verbally has to be mevatel it, because it didn't break on its own. It didn't break on its own unnaturally. So if it broke on itself unnaturally, then he has a taina. The guy has a taina. Well, hey, you couldn't save yourself. How are you going to save me? But if it broke in a natural way, so that's not a shaila why he couldn't save himself. That's how it grows. So the Gemara says, "Leima b'har kamiflagei." Let us say, and this is what they're arguing about, that Rav and Shmuel, the Maaseh Rav holds it's asa, these pieces, because the goyim even l'shvarim, they serve even broken pieces. And they're not mevatel Avoda zara because of the broken pieces. Masava, Shmuel holds ein even l'shvarim. We don't serve. The goyim don't serve broken pieces. Says you want to know, like we don't have to say that's the svar of the machlokes. The kuli alma even l'shvarim. Everybody is in agreement that the goyim serve even broken pieces. Here that arguing in pieces of pieces. The first piece is broken to other pieces, whether you serve it or not. Rav holds pieces of pieces, even those the guy is not mevatel. And Shmuel that pieces of pieces are going to be mutter. If you want, I can answer the kuli alma shivishvarim mutarim. Pieces of pieces are mutter because a guy is mevatel. And here we're talking about a made out of sections, like a Lego. And they're arguing, since if a hedget could put it back together, is it, when it broke, is it considered as a bittul or not? Are we going to say, since a hedget could put it back together, the breaking on its own is not going to be considered as a bittul? One holds, since a hedget could put it back together, it's not considered as a shvira. It's not considered as breaking, because it's easily put back together with like butler, and it's not bottled. The Avoda zara. Umar and Shmuel savein Avoda zicham b'teila. Avoda zicham is not bottled. Ella, when the shvira was done, b'derech gidulasa. only if the leaves fell off the tree, which is the derech for it to fall off the tree. So then the Avodah Chacham is not bottle. But in Avodah of sections, so that's where they said it's not going to be bottle. But in our case of a sectional Avodah Zara, it's not the derech that it should fall apart, and therefore, if it fell apart, he doesn't have to be mevatel because the guy mistam makes a cheshbon. If he couldn't save itself from falling apart, for sure he cannot save me.